today we then talk about the importance of being a real father. When I say real, I mean real in the sense that you do not look at how society will view you in the decision you make to rescue or to be the father that your kids want you to be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how society will view you. Like, you know what? Ni mtoto wangu. And this is how nasikia sauti ya Mungu ikiniambia ni deal. I'm not doing it to please anyone. I'm not doing it to do anything. It's for the benefit of my child and my children. Let me say my children. So our guest today is somebody I didn't know I'd known him for years before. Robert Wanjiku, it's good to see you. Last time I saw you was what, more than 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's many years, yeah.
So you're wondering, who is Robert Wanjiku? So Robert Wanjiku is a father who recently did the one thing that parents ordinarily, or in many ways, do, and that is to hide their shame. And he chose, I'm not going to do it differently. So this is what happened.
Kevin, you are sugarcoating. You are just sugarcoating the truth. I know I'm not alone in this. A lot of parents are here who have suffered with their daughters and sons because of alcohol. Alcohol is the biggest killer in this country. People don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Kids are dying. Nobody wants to talk about it. And that's why I'm standing in front of you as a victim to tell you the truth. My family have suffered. Mama Kamau is here. We have suffered. Emma, from the time Kamau went to Uganda, she took over. She has suffered. We have tried everything. The boy has been in and out of rehabilitation centers. I don't know whether Dirango is here. They said they would be coming. I don't know whether they are here. The last place where he went for the rehab. I know a lot of people would be saying, but let me tell you, you won't have the pain. You never feel the pain that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Wow, Robert.
I know. Yeah. Unfortunately, or possibly, or fortunately, is the only place I could have said that at my son's funeral. There's nowhere else you can be given that kind of
opportunity
to say what you feel. If it's your son, if it's your brothers, or if your sisters, or if it's your relatives' funeral, you can never be allowed to say something like that. Even at my sons, they kind of stopped me. They were trying to stop me to say anything.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids. Yeah, the one is the one who left. Now I remain with 2.
Was he the eldest?
He was the second one, yeah.
So let's talk about him. Let's understand the genesis of why you made that call. Tell us about him. What was his name?
He was
What do you remember about him being a child growing up?
Everything. To me, it's not a long time ago. He was born in 1983 in March, and he grew up. We grew up in the village. I grew up in the village as well, in Gatundu North. He grew up there before he left for Uganda for his secondary school. And it's when he came back that's when the problem started. And you wouldn't know until it's very, very late because, they try to hide.
Yes.
Every drunkard try to hide about their drink, and people don't talk about drinking. People, if you ask them,
yes,
every time they have an excuse, So very few people will tell you, oh, I have this problem. So we didn't know until it was very, very, very late, yes. It's when we realized, that's when we took him to the rehab.
What was he like before alcohol? What was he like as a son?
He was a very nice boy. Very, very nice boy. He was I would say, a normal kind of a boy. You know, somebody who you can engage, but
Yes.
you can engage in conversations, you can talk to, you can, you know. And it's now, I realized much later that he was on something when he now started withdrawing. He would not come talk to me, he would not. That's when I realized there's a problem. But it was too late, you know.
Mm-hmm. Why do you say it was too late? I mean,
it was too late because he was already into alcohol.
So I'm going to move you forward first. How many rehab centers did he go to?
First he went.
Yes.
He went to Thika first, where we thought this is when I think he was sick.
Right.
And when he went to Thika, the doctors realized this is too much, and a doctor approached us and asked us if we can help him. I think for him to go and go like there's something they do about the alcohol. I'm not very sure.
Right,
I'm not an expert here.
I know, right.
So, but there's something they do like to withdraw help them.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was there for about 3 weeks, and when he came out, he was okay, but unfortunately, the day he came out, he went drinking. Same day.
How many times in rehab?
He went again into another rehab. This one took him. This one was for a very long time.
Right.
Because the second time he went to the rehab was in 2014, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when he went for about six months. Because for 3 months he was in the rehab.
Right.
And another 3 months where he went into what they call half house.
Right.
Half house is where they try to, put you into the community,
right.
like
yes.
to see if you can see if you can survive on your own when you're out there, right. Where you are, you go into the half house, and then in the morning you are released to go and do your normal things. He used to go into town. He did his retest for driving.
Wow.
He did computer classes. He came back in the evening. He would go back in the evening, and he continued for 3 months. He was fine. He passed his driving test again because he had lost everything. He had lost his ID. He had lost all his documents. So we were trying to get him some documents.
Start afresh.
Yes, kind of, yeah. And also we wanted to get him a place, like I wanted him to go to Qatar at least to.
Right, yes.
For him to start his own life and to be dependent.
Right.
But there you are.
Let me ask you.
Sure.
This is tough. As a father who believes is able, the responsibility, can be able to handle the responsibility of father, that is to be your child's protector, the person your child goes to when he's suffering, when he has a problem. When you see him in and out of rehab, when you see him deteriorate into this, from better to worse, how does that make you feel?
Terrible. Jimmy, it's terrible, especially when you look at your kid and you're like, oh my God, how can I help this kid?
Did you blame yourself?
Yeah, I kind of, yes. But it reached a point where I thought, no, I'm not going to blame myself. Never.
Why?
Why? One, I did my best to help him. He was given the best education, just like Jimmy. We all struggle with alcohol. Let's start from there. Mm-hmm. That's the beginning. We all struggle with alcohol. We all have a drink in one.
Yes.
In your life, you've taken a drink.
Yes.
We all have. But it reaches a point where you say, now, this is it.
Tosha.
Sikunywi tena, I'm going home.
That's what you did?
No, I'm just giving you an example.
Have you ever drank before?
Me?
Yes.
I drink.
Good. Okay.
I drink, of course. Don't you worry.
That's important,
yes. I drink, yes. But it reaches a point where you're like, I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm going home.
Time for me to go home, yes.
Time for me to go home. Time for me to wake up in the morning and try to make a coin.
Right. Yes, I get
it. There's working time, there's drinking time,
that's right.
There's leisure time. But for these alcoholics, kama unajua, ni ugonjwa.
It is.
Yes. It is.
Any addiction is an illness.
And this is what people don't tell you. It is an addiction. It is a condition just like any other.
It is.
And unless you realize that, when you have a kid like that. Because another mistake we make, instead of bringing them closer to us, we start shouting. That's one thing I realized when it was too late. Of course, you start blaming them, you start shouting at them. You were like, what are you doing? Because, of course, they steal a lot of things from you to earn their coins.
Yes, to finance their addiction, yes.
So if you find your whatever, something missing in your compound, you're not going to laugh with him. Of course, you have to shout at them. But this one does not help. Shouting does not help. I realized that one quite late. And, yeah.
Do you think you'd have done things differently? Is there a time when you sit and say maybe I like what you're saying. You shouldn't have shouted at him. Maybe you'd have handled things differently. How differently? Do you think
if it was now, maybe because I've done a lot of reading and interacting with a lot of drunkards and seen a lot of parents struggling.
Yes,
me being one of them.
Yes,
I would bring them closer to me, to talk to me, and just to see if there's anything
anything sparking.
Yeah, because alcoholism is sparked by a lot of things.
Yes. And people use it to escape the reality.
Yes.
Any addiction, really.
It is a lot of. I can read a few.
Yes.
To you.
Yes.
For you to know what's. I want you to know it's not something you wake up one day and find yourself.
An alcoholic. Yes.
No, it is spiked by a lot of things, and I'll give you just like a few. Family history is one of them. If you're from a family where
alcoholism is
so you are a candidate. Okay?
You're susceptible to be.
Yeah. And there is something we call personal choice.
Yes.
Personal choice. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, yes.
Yeah, you're going to, after this, you go to the pub.
Yes.
That's a personal choice.
Yes.
There's mental health, which very few people talk about. Because you think, Jimmy, having one or two drinks is. But people are suffering out there. Sijui kama unajua.
Nakuelewa.
You understand?
Yes, I
people are suffering out there. Okay, I'll give you another one, which is called as unsupervised underage drinking. When you tell them to have a glass of wine,
at age 10, 11 or 12 or 13.
I want you to read the statistics of Nakada. They are shocking.
Yes, they are.
They are shocking. Okay. There's traumatic experiences.
Out of this, what do you call them? Sparks.
Yeah.
Or, I'm looking for a better word. Out of the ones that you've mentioned, can I ask you
what might have triggered his drinking? It is. I would call it. I would say the second one. I would say the second one, which is a personal choice.
Not history of alcoholism in your family.
History, of course, history is to blame as well. But we all come from dysfunctional families.
No one is perfect.
It is up to us to make ourselves. It's up to us to decide. I'm not going to leave it. That is dysfunctional part of me.
Right.
Sitaki.
Right.
Right.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
And because you've mentioned it, how close are you to your kids?
Right now?
Yes. How close were you before? Did anyone say anything to let you know, hey, Dad, maybe you need to look at...
Yeah, his brother talked about a lot. Because every time they would go out, he would get so drunk. You know, those days of carnival.
Does his brother drink? The rest of the family?
They all drink, yes. But, they are responsible people. They're not like him. So, it started, the way you sponsor your kids to go out to carnival those days. You know what I'm talking about. When you would give your kids some money to go out drinking, he would go and just drink all his money and now start asking other kids to buy him. So
what did his brother tell you when he was telling you, perhaps I think you need to look at,
especially
what did he say
his brother was much younger. It was his brother, was his elder brother.
Yes.
His elder sister, who used to tell me, hey, Daddy watch mtoto, kama anakunywa sana. That's what she would tell me.
And you reached,
Judy, and I mean, you are like.
Did he ever talk to his siblings about what was back? Because I like, another thing you've said is, mental capacity, traumatic experience. Did he ever speak to his siblings about what he was struggling? Because he was struggling with something.
He was,
that triggered the alcoholism to come in.
I tell you what, one of the biggest thing we have, or one of the biggest problem people face today is something we call denial. Mimi sio mlevi.
Hiyo ufanyikia familia nyingine.
Hii ni huko mimi sikunywaji vile unafikiria daddy. So denial is the first thing people struggle with. And when you start struggle, the minute you start denying that you have a problem,
which leads me to this question. And by the way, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Your thoughts, if you have any questions for Robert Wanjiku, who's a parent who said, you know what, I'm going to do this because I believe I'm going to help somebody or family and so on. If you have any questions, at SpiceFMK, hashtag is Jimmy Gathu Live on both Facebook and YouTube. If you have any questions to ask. Also, because on Jimmy Gathu Live, we like to have a conversation.
Sure.
And conversation is with many people. If you are a professional who, as Robert has said, it is important for people to seek professional help. If you are there and you're listening, we would love to hear your thoughts and help us, because at the end of the day, our game plan, our end game is that we learn, we have information, and make informed choices and decisions thereafter. Yeah? So let me ask you this question.
Sure.
Why did you say that in your funeral? What
triggered me to say?
For you to say, was it guilt? Did you feel guilty? This happened during your watch. Did you say it because you felt maybe I should have said something earlier? What was it, Robert?
Okay.
Yeah.
One, I knew this is the only chance I had to talk about alcoholism. People don't talk about it. As I told you earlier, at that funeral, people, even the ones, the handlers of that funeral, walikuwa wataki mimi niseme chochote, usiongee.
Short illness,
priest was there. I don't know who else is there. The whole family is there. Unaongea vibaya juu ya mtoto wako. And I'm like, this is the only chance I have. Whom would I ever? When will people? By the way, I didn't prepare that speech at all. Ilitoka ndani. Because ilitoka ndani when I looked at the program, and the whole thing was changed. I didn't even know they had changed the program. They didn't know they had changed the eulogy. What I had written is not what was on the eulogy, because they wanted to people to hear what they wanted.
Mama mtoto alikuwa. I had you mention.
Lakini haku. She didn't see the program before.
But alikuwa support ama pia alikwambia ai woi no either way.
Asha, what happened when they went to preach that thing? My younger sister, my last born son is the one who was doing the programming. The program.
Yes.
And I think the printer refused to print that, saying you can't say this about your brother. I'm still waiting to beat him, because why would you change something which has been written by the dad? Because I'm the one who drafted the eulogy, me and his brother. But he changed.
So more importantly, your family support you 100%.
They did. When I sat with my son, because that morning when he died, when he discovered him on Friday morning, on Saturday morning I took a walk with my son. And when I was walking with him, we decided this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're going to do the program. Let's make this. Let's support one another.
Amen.
And let's go and write the eulogy. And we wrote it together. And we wrote everything.
Powerful.
But when they went for printing,
the printer
decided no, it happened.
Again, 0719, if you wish to ask Mr. Robert Wanjiku a question on air, you can do so. 0719 0126000. Send your thoughts and your questions as well. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. At Spice FMK, hashtag is Jimmy Gathu Live.
Spice.
So comments, do so at Spice FMK, hashtag is Jimmy Gathu Live. We're also live on YouTube. Questions or comments, also at Spice FM, hashtag Jimmy Gathu Live. If you want to call and ask our guest, Robert Wanjiku, the question, any questions, and it's a conversation, 0719 0126000. Robert, let me ask you. So, a couple of questions. One is tell us, how can I put this? One of the things I like what you've done is, and I think is very powerful, is you didn't stay held. You didn't try to change, turn back the clocks of time. You know what I mean? Kijanangu amenda.
Yeah.
And so you made that decision from here moving on. The first thing you did is said, guys, don't lie. This is what killed my son. Yeah, you didn't decide to wallow in regret and say, oh, you say, you know what? Because you said the next day you had a conversation with your son. So tell us the importance, and this is to parents, the importance of having a relationship with your kids.
Very, very important. Very, very important. If parents can do that, it can save a lot. Because, you know, a lot of parents are career parents.
Wow. Yes.
They are never there. They are never there for their parents.
Nafanya kazi juu ya watoto ndio muweze kuwa na maisha mzuri. That's it.
They are never there for their kids. You know, kids are never there for their parents. They tend to get into that room where they, Daddy, I'm doing my homework.
Alafu unawachilia basi.
The last, I can ask them just to spare some time, which I didn't. I used to travel a lot. I was never there. So I can't remember having a conversation with them, except when maybe I went home over the weekend. And even when I get home, I'm also going out with my friends. You know, so I'm coming home, they are asleep. So, what to do from now? If you can, you know, as a parent, start a conversation with your kids. That's all.
Absolutely.
Just try something. Just because, you know, these kids don't come with, I always tell people, kids don't come with manual.
Hey,
you get me?
You get me? I get you.
Mtoto anatoka, you're seated there waiting for that manual. It's never there.
Quran, yes.
My son always laughs when I tell him that. But they don't come with manuals. So you raise these kids the best you can.
And being involved is one of them.
You get me?
How's your wife taking it?
Oh,
and how are you helping support each other?
We are supporting each other. I'm always there for her. I'm trying to. Actually, at the funeral, I think I'm the one who was crying more than her. You know, and she would tell me, "Oh, please, just stop it. It's okay.
Absolutely.
Because she had suffered a lot. Because when the boy used to live in the village, she suffered more than anybody else. Because the boy would just go and try harassing his mom, you know, for money, for, I don't know, he want money to drink, you know. So she suffered a lot. So I think for me, it's time for her to heal. Oh. I'm letting her heal slowly, you know. I'm letting her heal.
Moving forward.
Sure.
Because, you know, sometimes we always put parents on a pedestal. And leave the kids then to be, you know, and hence, I think that was the genesis of this world entitled. Do our kids have a role as well?
Of course they have.
And what is it? Because they look up to us.
Yeah, they do.
Wanasema mimi nafanya vile nimeona paps akifanya.
Yeah.
Nikienda kuongelesha paps akisema wewe ndio ufanye homework, even vile mimi ndafanya pengine paps hata kuongea story. But what more can they do, Robert?
Kids,
yes.
They have a role as well. They have a lot of supporters. They know we are out there trying to make their lives better. They have a very big role, actually. If they, especially when they are grown up.
Yes.
You know, when they grow up,
after each other, yes.
they have to look after us as well. They have to support us in whatever we're doing. If I don't have much time, the little time I have for you, please understand. But some kids, they want, you know, anyway, I mean, I know we are never there all the time for them, but the little time I have for them, let them understand.
Absolutely. My final question to you, Robert.
Yes. Yes, Jimmy.
Your biggest regret?
My biggest regret? Oh, my God.
In this scenario?
My biggest regret. What can I say? My biggest regret is not being there for them and not realizing when it started happening. It was too late maybe when, and I didn't have the skills like I have today of how to deal with it. You know, I didn't know how to deal with it when it happened. I should have looked for this. These are the things parents should look for. Those signs.
Those red flags, those symptoms.
Because they are there. There are a lot of red flags. One, the kids try to withdraw. They withdraw. They don't want to have a conversation with you.
And so you let them go rather than.
So you think, oh, maybe they are, you know, they want to be there on their own. But when these kids start withdrawing, that's a very big sign. Even for us, grown-ups, when they start drinking, we don't want to go to those family gatherings. And when they go, they always have an excuse that they want to leave early. Believe you me, they're going for a drink. Yeah.
Role of society. Because you know that's also where the problem is. One, as a father, you think this is how you're supposed to be. Or rather, the society has put you on a pedestal that you can't disappoint. That you cannot then disappoint society by being the person they didn't expect you to be. Okay? And I think equally the kids as well. You know, so they live in a situation where they'd rather hide their shame or their pain rather be laughed at. And so are parents. You hautaki kuchekelewa na majirani. Wewe watoto wako ni wale, hautaki kuchekelewa. You know what I mean? What role does society, I don't know if that's it is. What role does society have? Your neighborhood, your friends, your relatives, your parents, your parents, Robert, your brothers, the bigger community, what role do they have?
They have a big role. They have a very, very big role. And I wish people can wake up and see and smell coffee. It's happening everywhere. Where we live, like in our estate today, a lot of kids are just out there getting drunk every day. They go in the streets. They're out there in the bar. The community have a very big role to play.
Yes.
I wish they could have more activities with their kids, where you engage your kids more.
That's right. That's right.
Playing with them, watching games together or whatever you can do to engage them.
To engage them, to get them occupied.
To get them occupied. After there's whatever they are.
Right.
If they're doing their homework, after that homework, what else can you do together as a family? Even going out together, to have dinner, people, especially our people, don't do that. You know that. It's not in our culture for people to go out and have dinner with their kids. Very few people do that. And if you do, you find that kids won't ask for that drink because they don't want to be seen by their parents drinking.
Yes.
And if they do, they'll just stay with that one drink because they don't want to be seen by their parents like they're drinking.
I see what you mean.
You get me?
I see what you mean. What I'll tell you, Robert.
Sure.
No matter how painful it is, I think it's a start of a new journey for you.
It is. It is.
So here's a funny thing is that's where everyone starts from. Everyone starts from the fact that from mistakes.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's no manual.
Hakuna.
But the thing is, you can't just sit back and say, okay, let me hide my shame and my pain. But you're standing not just for yourself, but for other parents who have always wanted to speak.
And whoever is watching or listening, let them know. Let them never blame themselves. Never ever blame yourself. If you've done your part, Never, ever blame me. Because now, yes, my son is dead. Jimmy, in movies, people don't die. in this case, my son died. So if everyone can learn or listen and just try to tell somebody else about what's happening out there, that's why I'm out there to pass the message. People should learn that. It's happening.
But thank you.
Karibu sana, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting me.
You are sugarcoating. You are just sugarcoating the truth. I know I'm not alone in this. A lot of parents are here who have suffered with their daughters and sons because of alcohol. Alcohol is the biggest killer in this country. People don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's our time. Nobody wants to talk about it. And that's why I'm standing in front of you as a victim to tell you the truth. My family have suffered. Mama Kamau is here. We have suffered. Emma, from the time Kamau went to Uganda, she took over. She has suffered. We have tried everything. The boy has been in and out of rehabilitation centers. I don't know whether Dirango is here. They said they would be coming. I don't know whether they are here. The last place where he went for the rehab. I know a lot of people would be saying, but let me tell you, you won't have the pain. You never feel the pain that I'm feeling.
Spice.